Hey everybody, welcome back to our Liberty House. My name is Lucas, and today we're going to film a very exciting video. I've been waiting on what to do when your tomatoes outgrow your trellis. We're going to top them.
All that you dreamed it'd be, ending up here, ending up with me.
Okay, it's late June here, and we planted these the last week of March. And as you can see, they've outgrown our trellis. You know, they're over 6 feet tall and nice and bushy, and they're setting a ton of fruit. But if we keep letting these indeterminate tomatoes grow, they'll never stop growing, and they'll set fruit, and you'll get wind or just too heavy a fruit. They'll snap the branch, and potentially hurt your plant, and you're going to lose some fruit. So what we are going to do is I'm going to top them, and I'm going to allow it to bush out and set more fruit and sucker out now that they're at the top. All right, so now you're going to ask yourself, where do I cut to top these? And what we want to do is we want to cut off one of the main leaders to stop it from continuing to grow up. So if you look at this one right here, we have a main stem that goes to a sunleaf, a flower cluster, and then a main stem, and you can see it's setting another flower cluster right there. So what I'm going to do to stop it from growing up anymore is cut it right above that flower cluster. So that it's still going to allow this fruit to ripen potentially, but it's not going to keep growing up. And I'm going to do that across all of these. So if you look right here at this one, we have a main stem, we have a flower cluster, continuing up main stem, another flower cluster. This thing is already probably too big, so we'll just cut it right there. And we're just going to continue to do that across this whole wall of tomatoes, and that's going to let this plant sucker out and produce more fruit. It's going to trigger it to branch out more, bush out more, set more fruit. All right, we're going to continue doing this, and the thing to remember if you get confused, because you might be like, do I need to cut this or not, is just always cut right above a flower cluster. So right here, right above a flower cluster. I'm still going to continue to take some of these suckers off because, we don't want this branch getting too heavy. So like I said, as we go, we just cut right above a flower cluster. And really just need to cut the main leader. You don't have to cut the sun leaves off. You want them to be there to, produce energy and shade your fruit and prevent them from sun scald. So just take the main growing stem off right above a flower cluster. As you allow these to sucker out and to produce, wider, bushier plants, you might have to come in and prune off some of these sun leaves, so you can come in like this one and tie it in and support it. Here's a sucker that I let sucker out, and I can't even get to the trellis here. So I'm just going to come in here and kind of thin out some of these sun leaves so I can get to the trellis still. But you don't want to completely defoliate all the way down to the stem, because you want to provide shade and then also foliage for energy production. But if you just completely de-stem these, you're going to allow your fruits to possibly get sun scalded and rot and wasted. And tomatoes, it's a myth. Tomatoes don't need sun to ripen. They need time. Time is the most important thing, time and nutrients. So don't try to remove leaves to get sun on your tomato. That's a myth I've heard before. Keep cutting. Look at this little guy.
You could have gone anywhere, been anywhere. You stole my heart like a thief on the run. chance on me. And now we're building bridges as far as the eye can see. And I never thought I'd find anything close to all that I knew you would be. Ain't it beautiful? And darling, beautiful, with you here next to me. I dream in color, you're black and white. And I prefer the country to your city lights. But we made our bed and it feels just right. So I'll stay here with you for the rest of my nights. You're not much for taking chances, but you've taken a chance on me. And now we're building bridges as far as the eye can see.
Okay, a little proof of concept here. This is our one red cherry tomato that we had on the far right side of this trellis, and it was the first one to go way above the trellis. I've actually been topping this one for like 3 weeks now, while I've been waiting to shoot this video because I wanted to wait for the San Marzanos to get above the trellis as well. So I have been doing what I just showed you guys on this cherry tomato for the past 3 weeks, and you can see it's starting, I'm forcing it to sucker out. And so as this grows, I'll keep tying it in, you know, and I'll prune off some of these sun leaves so I can tie it in. And here's another sucker. I let this one sucker out, and you can see, let's see if I can find it. I let it sucker out like way at the end. Once this plant was all the way to the top, I started letting it sucker out, and now it's forming, you know, fruits here, and look at back here. So I've completely let this thing sucker out, and it's setting so much fruit that it's even growing into my neighbor's yard. So they're probably gonna get some tomatoes. But now you can see all of these are all topped. Almost fell there. I'm gonna hopefully set more fruit. I mean, look how big those San Marzanos are. Lots and lots of tomatoes. Let's pull one. Oh yeah, look at that. It's the size of my palm. So, yeah guys, this is a nice little strategy to get a longer season and more fruit and healthier fruits by letting them get to the top before you let them sucker out, and then top them off and let them go. While I'm in here, I'm taking the time to just tie these up, and we just use this like metal tomato tie wire, and I think it works great, and it's cheap. Now the trick is to catch it. I'll just go all the way around. Oh, so bushy. There we go. All right, nice and secured. These are all topped up, and hopefully they'll set this fruit, and then the whole plants will bush out and set more fruit. You know, we'll just kind of keep letting them sucker out and keep pruning as they go. So that's what to do when your tomato plants outgrow your trellis. And you can do this for tomato cages if you're using it, or your Florida weave. You know, once they get above the top of your trellis, just cut that main growing leader off and let them push them to sucker at that point in time. They've got established roots, they have established foliage, and you're gonna get a bigger, longer harvest. So that's topping tomatoes. Really appreciate your guys' time. Go check out our other videos on trellising and pruning tomatoes, and make sure you subscribe to our channel. Next week, I'm gonna talk about summer care in your garden, which, you know, mulch, shade, fertilizing, and, you know, some watering tips and tactics. Thanks guys, have a good day.